Hello and welcome to Beyond Healthspan. My name is Matej Glivar and for the last 3 years I'm very interested into health. I don't know why, for some reason I was never interested when I was younger, but now that I'm turning 40 in a couple of days actually, I'm very interested into being healthy for longer. Because a lot of people are saying like, oh, lifespan, for example, I don't want to be 80, 90, 100 years old at all. I want to die sooner. First of all, they say this because, the time did not come yet, because when you're in this time that you need to die, no one wants to die, right? And secondly, because people connect like age with not being healthy. And when we're talking about health span, this means that we can actually prolong our health to our end. Imagine that you are actually 90 years old and you're healthy until then, and then you die for some reason. Something happens or whatever, or your health can go really down and something happens in a year. But not for 10 years, not for 20 years, not for 30, 50 years. Some people are suffering for 30 years and they're not dying. They're eating pills, they're trying everything their doctors told them to do, they go to the operations, they do whatever, but they're suffering every single day until they die 50 years later. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to live healthier lifestyle, to have the quality of your life so much better, because if you're not fit right now, you don't know what you're missing. If you're not fit, you don't know how great it feels to be in a fit body, having a lot of energy and being like full of life. Can you imagine how this is? Some people cannot even imagine because you forget. And I know for a fact, because I was one of you. I was one of them. I was fat. And this is really not insult on the fat people, because I have a lot of fat people around myself. Everyone has fat. I'm also fat because I have some small percentage of fat. But a lot of people have actually too much fat. And this fat hurts you a lot in the long term. You can feel a lot of consequences, like a lot more diseases, early deaths, many things that you don't want in your life. And what I'm trying to say is that with Beyond Healthspan, we are talking about how to prevent these things in a simple way. Not in specific ways where you need to take a lot of time, a lot of effort to learn about everything, to really measure everything and so on. Of course, you need to do all these things. But what is more important, you need a system that's going to help you to be healthier longer. And what are the basics I want to talk about here? One thing is sleep, completely underrated. People have no idea how important sleep is, and also that this is the best medicine. Sleep makes your body healthy again. For hormonal balance, for pain, for everything else in your body, sleep is one of the most important things. No one talks about this. It's sad. And I was actually saying all the time when I was younger that I'm going to sleep when I'm when I'm dead. And sleep is for weak people, whatever. I had like this mentality, this is, you just shouldn't sleep, you should do whatever. And for me, sleeping was waste of time. The biggest mistake of my life. Secondly, about strain. You need to train, you need to move your body, right? Especially after 40, yes, I'm getting there now. When you're starting to lose your body mass or muscle mass, bone density, everything's actually starting to go down. But you can prevent doing this to go fast, because you can go very, very fast, or you can go actually very, very slow. You can be still very fit at 70s, 80s. But not only this, also how to train, what to train. Should you just run a little bit? Should you lift weights? Should you do whatever? Nothing of too much is good enough, right? So we need to find the balance and need to see what is the system that we can first of all do, and second of all that we're going to enjoy doing it, and third of all that we're going to actually execute and do this for a long, long time. And the third one is recovery. Yes, sleep is part of this, but it's not the only thing, because recovery is very connected to, first of all, sleep, and second of all, food. So what kind of foods do we eat? How much of the food do we eat? How many calories do we eat? What is the macros of our foods? This is not so complicated as it sounds. It's actually very simple. You just need to actually understand the system that you can imply in your life. You can do this very slowly with some small habits and then adjust and make it even better in the future, because it's going to be easy, not all this at the same time, but you can tremendously correct your recovery. Your energy levels are going to go over the roof. Sometimes there is also some supplementation needs, but this we don't do actually just like based on how we feel or based on the marketing we see on internet or on television and so on. We do this based on our body, so we can measure this actually once a year. For example, you measure your body levels and you see actually where you're deficient. You just take the supplements for what it's necessary, not all over the place, and not losing the money for things that are not important or needed. And secondly, when we talk about health, we cannot talk about just physical health. We can also talk about mental health. And this is also something that most people don't focus on because it's just like what it is, right? No one teaches us about this. We know it could be better, or maybe we are good and healthy and we don't want to hear about it. But the fact is, if you're not living in ecstasy, if you don't live with grace in your life, if you're not focused on the right things, if you're stressed all the time, this is also very challenging for your health. And long term, this is very, very bad. To learn how to become someone who is excited about life, who sees good in everything. Because if you don't, and most people don't, and I don't even, I'm working on this all the time, because our brain are different. They are wired differently. They want to focus on the negative. There is a stories about this. I'll talk about it later. But for now, you need to understand, if you're not completely happy about everything that you see around yourself and focus on the right things, you can suffer no matter what you're doing with your body. But if you're actually great in your head and your body is not okay, you know it. The biggest challenge about health is the following. When you have health, you don't think about it much. When you have health, you don't think about what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and so on, maybe next year. But when you lose the health, the only thing you want, and we all know this, you just want to be healthy. And because I also want to help you to get more energy, to feel fit, great, and strong in your body, I created the 7-day Health Reset Challenge. If you want to know more about it, click on the links below or above, wherever it is, and see you on the other side. Thank you for listening and have a beautiful day.